we watched a new Netflix film that is an animated based on a little kid's picture book, but for some reason was adapted by Charlie Kaufman. It is called Orion and the Dark. Because I watched this one last night with the kids, and so Orion in the Dark, it has a pretty banger cast because you got Jacob Tremblay, Paul Walter Hauser, not Paul Walker Hauser, Zach. Just letting you know.
Mm.
Colin Hanks, Ike Barinholtz, Nat Faxon, Carla Gugino. Todd's girl's in this movie. I mean,
Wow.
it's got like Angela Bassett. It's got a cast, and it tells a story of a young boy named Orion who is scared of everything, and his anxiety just makes him almost non-functional at times. And the thing he's scared of the most is the dark. So what happens? The dark comes to life and takes him on a Christmas Carol like ride through the night to discover himself and discover why he was ever afraid. I loved the first like half hour of this movie. As you get the setting, you see the anxiety. It plays out the anxiety really well of what Orion's dealing with his notebook and all the different fears that he has. I think it worked awesome. And even the start of everything, where Dark shows up. Dark is the one that's Paul Walter Hauser, who's doing an impression of somebody else. I don't know who it is, but it doesn't sound like him. It's got this really cool vibe to it. About the time where the other, what they call night entities, show up, you start to realize it doesn't know where to go from here. Like it had this great start, but I don't think it knows what it's doing from here on out. And then you get the Charlie Kaufman influence of going like next level and then a level beyond the next level of just layers of like it's Synecdoche, New York's this a little bit for a little kids movie. With all that said, it was still interesting. It was still a fun watch, and the first half hour was that good. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I feel like the first half hour was like a 3.5 to 4 star movie, and the last half hour was like a 2 to 2.5 star movie. But I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It was still entertaining. The like I said, the beginning it started off great, and then I don't know what it was trying to do when it started, going into generational time travel, but it was fun. My kids really liked it too. So
Yeah, so I guess I have to say that, like Charlie Kaufman, man, is he's definitely out there. And would we have watched this movie were it not for Charlie Kaufman? I don't think there's
no,
any way
no.
we would have watched it. I also have to give a special shout out to Argyle, because Argyle is the real MVP of this movie. There's no freaking way I was going to sit through Argyle. So that automatically bumps this movie up a 1/2 star, just because I didn't have to get in my goddamn car, go to the theater, have to wait 20 minutes full of bullshit commercials, okay, and watch a 2-hour and 25-minute plate of cat excrement. Okay, so this movie, Orion in the Dark. Yeah, I agree, Terry. I was really into this movie for the first 20, 25 minutes. I like movies about neurotic children. Okay, we all loved Margaret, Are You There, God? And it's just like that. I mean, this kid has like irrational fears of everything. My favorite irrational fear of his is clogging up the toilet. That's a good one. He's got more He's got more conventional ones like the murder clown, and I like the mosquitoes too. That shit I was down for. Okay, I'm like, listen, this is Charlie Kaufman doing some weird, perverse, fairly adult-oriented kids movie about a kid with some real hysterical anxiety. I love it. I'm down for it, even if I don't necessarily love the animation in it. But you're right. Once we introduce Night, and by the way, I think Paul Walter Hauser is channeling John Goodman or Seth Rogen, maybe fellow larger size actors that we love. The big jolly. And here's the thing I gotta say about the movie: if you're gonna make a movie about an antagonist who's scary, okay, have him voiced by Paul Walter Hauser or John Goodman or Seth Rogen, give him big eyes and a smiley face. I mean, you could turn anything into that. Okay, you could turn Freddy Krueger into that. You could turn fears of worldwide economic recession into a lovable character if he was voiced like that. I mean, it's just too easy to make that character that lovable. So anyway, I got a problem with that. I also didn't love the Inside Out knockoff yet again. How many movies are we going to see this with now? This movie even had similar music to Inside Out. I thought the nighttime elements or whatever they were called, what I wrote it down, the entities. Yes, that was a nice word. Entities. They kind of looked like it looked like storyboard sketches, character sketches that were rejected for the movie Robots in 2005. Like it looks like DreamWorks mid 2000s animation. I don't even know what the entities represent. I did love hearing Queen Angela Bassett. She's the MVP of this vocal cast. She's awesome in it. The aesthetic is wrong for this movie. It should have been much more dark and maybe Coraline like the movie is just so innocuous in the way it looks. Netflix describes this movie as a boy with an active imagination faces his fears on an unforgettable journey. What is unforgettable about this movie? I would contend. I'm not going to remember this movie in 2 weeks. The movie has a weird digression the last 30 minutes where it turns into like Petite Maman meets Being John Malkovich. I don't quite know where that came from. I'm not sure why the movie flashes forward to Colin Hanks as the grown-up kid, and now he has a daughter. It went above my head. I guess I don't mind a movie being weird like that, but I guess I wish it had been a little bit more consistent in tone, and I wish it had been a little bit centralized in the neuroses of the main character. I think the characters look a little creepy. Their eyes are like beady. They're squished together like that, which is a little bit weird. And then when it gets to the end of the movie with the laser blasters, do we really think Charlie Kaufman even likes this? I don't know if he signs off on it. Low key, I'd rather have a movie with the childhood scribbly animation that they had over the end credits. I thought that kind of looked cool. Anyway, I can't be a true hater on animation. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that went into this movie. I'm giving it a 2.5 stars because of what we'll call the Argyle bump. But I do have to say I was fairly disappointed, although I also have to say I haven't really loved Charlie Kaufman's recent movies. Technically, I think this is his best movie in a while. So it's not terrible, but it could have been, I think, something really special.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm basically in agreement with both of you. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Like you could feel the Kaufman in the movie for sure, even though he didn't direct it. It's a Kaufman movie. It feels like. I mean, it's like adaptation meets like Charlie Brown or something. Which I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good call.
And he the main character is likable because of the way most Kaufman characters kind of are. And then he puts his existential stuff in there. But it's a kids movie. I kind of feel like he's above this though. Like if he had Pixar or something behind, like support behind him, he could have made this like a masterwork of a kids animation. Instead, it's just like a kind of childish, non-emotional family exercise thing. But of course, he has his. I mean, he made adult animation with Anomalisa, which is of course a masterpiece. But he could have had the other end of the spectrum with this, I guess. And I don't know, is he in some kind of Netflix deal? Like he doesn't really make movies anymore, and this is his second straight movie on Netflix that I feel like nobody's going to see. But I don't know. The animation also looks unfinished. Like there's like 10% of every shot that looks like it's just off and then like doesn't fit. Like I mean, you would look at like a character's hair and it would be like there'd be like 1/10 of it would be like that doesn't look like anything. That just looks like blur. I don't know. The voice acting is pretty good. I don't know how Jacob Tremblay still sounds like a child. Like he's like 18 years old and he still sounds like he's like 6. But yeah, my girl Carla Gugino is one of the standouts along with Angela Bassett. The movie really thinks it's Inside Out. The supporting but the supporting characters are nowhere near as interesting as they should be. And I feel like this could have been some sort of a hit at the box office. Like, it seems like something that kids go see in animated movies these days, but it's a Netflix only release. It's rated Y7, so it's not going to be eligible for Oscars or anything. It's going to be eligible for Emmys. It gets pretty far out there. The layers on layers. It reminded me of Spider-Verse. It's about the same as Spider-Verse, I guess, in its execution. I just wish it would be more grounded, like the first 20 minutes, like Terry said. Like the first 20 minutes, I think were pretty great. So 2.5 stars. But I think it's an interesting thing because this is the second time we've had a Netflix movie, a Netflix anime movie, very early in the year. The first one was that space movie. And these animated movies coming on Netflix. Yeah, these animated movies are coming on Netflix early in the year that are going to get lost in the shuffle completely. But I still think there's some good that comes out of it. So, I mean, there is still gems that you could find, even if all the other movies coming out are Argyle.
Like you guys said, the beginning of this, it hit it out of the park, and then it was trying to figure out what it was going to do to end it. Yeah, the existential stuff is definitely Charlie Kaufman's influence on this. And And yeah, the Inside Out comparison to like some of the characters even sounded like the green insomnia guy. He sounded like what I think it was it Bill Hader that was doing that in the first Inside Out movie, I think.
I think.
Anyways, it just didn't, yeah. And I didn't
Did you
really
know what
get
they
that
represented?
either. Yeah, it was insomnia and quiet
Sweet
and
dreams, I think.
Unexplained
sweet
noises.
dreams and unexplained noises.
What was with the unexplained noise? But that was like a
I want to know,
radio
yeah.
cassette or something. What was with that?
I want to know what in the world, like, why that didn't make any sense. Like, oh, we're the ones that run nighttime. We put you to sleep and then we wake you up with paranoia. And like, why? What is what you do good?
And what's the deal with dying in a dream? Okay, we all saw Inception. If you die in a dream, you just go up another layer. You know, Oscar-winning director Christopher
seriously.
Nolan knows that shit. And like, you know, what's the deal with Airplane Peanuts? What's the deal with the fact that dark might die? Does that mean that the world is not going to be dark anymore? Like, what?
That's
I
what
was
happened.
confused.
Yeah.
I guess so. This kid possesses such unbelievable power. You know, he can't control his shits that's clog up the toilet, but he can control the world's sunlight supply. Okay, like that's it. There seems like a slight contradiction there, you know. And then what's the deal with the future? What, this movie is suddenly Looper? I mean, they're going and interviewing their former selves, and Bruce Willis is in it. Like, that was not a twist I saw coming. Was the time travel element of the movie? But you know, hats off to him. I don't know. You know, we also 2 years ago we all saw Apollo 10.5. We all loved Apollo 10.5. I think the reason we liked it so much is that movie knew what it was. It was a Richard Linklater movie, so it didn't really have a beginning, middle, and end. It was kind of just these long, sometimes pointless, but sometimes interesting digressions about what life was like in Houston in 1969. And like, you know, okay, maybe it wasn't like a kid's movie, but it was entertaining for people like us, in our demographic, I guess. But this movie, I don't know what it is. Like, there's like, then you got the Werner Herzog bit in this movie. Like, no kid's gonna understand.
That was the best part.
Funny. I did like that part. But like, and then the title's designed by Saul Bass too. That was a nice touch too. But like,
he narrated the dark movie.
either decide to be for the people that liked Apollo 8.5, or just do a straight on kids movie. I think this movie's lost. It doesn't know what it is. Just like you were saying, Terry.
Yeah, it didn't know where it was going. I will say, I think Argyle would have been a better conversation about though. After watching it,
This movie was a long 98 minutes. I will give you that. I had to watch it over 2 nights, but anything is better than Argyle.
I don't know. We would have had a lot of fun talking Argyle.
I feel like Zach's seen as much of Argyle as he has Oppenheimer, which is
Probably. About the same level of respect for both movies too.
All right. Well, let's move on. Orion in the Dark. It's on Netflix. 2.5 from Todd, 2.5 from Zach, 3 from me, a tepid 3 from me. Check it out. If you got kids, the kids will like it.
Did your kids like it?
They did. They did like it. And my wife recognized the title, and will probably be reading the picture book at the house sometime soon. So